Kim, RCR, here I am. Good morning, everyone. Okay, I'm not joking with you. You guys think I use it as an excuse, like especially every Monday morning. Peter, Nikki, are you there? We were about to go on,
here.
And what happened? What happened?
I said, hold on, hold everything.
Hold everything. There's more stuff. Good morning, Lemon Nation. Hello, everyone. Don Lemon, I love your faces. Who said that? Thank you. It's okay. It's okay. Okay, what do you guys let me know? Sorry. Hat or no hat? My little tissue here. Hat or no hat? I love the hat. But by the way, I cut my own hair this weekend. Did I do okay? I think I did okay. I am so busy, I didn't have a chance to go to the barber. And so I decided to cut my own hair. So hopefully I did okay. Anyways, you tell me hat or no hat. Welcome to the Don Lemon Show, everyone. This is Hot Topics. And we're so glad that you're here. We hope you had a fantastic weekend and that your Monday morning, your week is off swimmingly. Okay? So here is what is happening. Donald Trump is in Scotland. Donald Trump's overseas. He's doing everything. You know, he's like, hey, we got a new trade deal. Hold on one second. I'm trying to get onto the TikTok. We have a new trade deal. We've got all this. So he's doing everything to change the subject, everything he can. But guess what? None of it's working because guess what reporters are asking him? So, all right, I'll do half of the show with it and half of the show without it. All right. So, everyone is asking him, like, what is going on with Epstein? Like, they do a couple of questions about what's happening in Europe. And I'm like, okay, how long is it going to take? And then, boom, everyone wants to talk about Epstein. Epstein. Over the weekend, all the Sunday shows, Epstein. He cannot escape it. Even the MAGA bros now, more of them. Everyone thought, well, the tide is turning and MAGA people they're going to supporting Donald Trump. Maybe out there in the real world, so to speak, as they say. But the folks who really have been banking on this to make money and clicks, and they believe this narrative, this whole idea that Democrats are in some sort of cabal with the Jeffrey Epstein files and all up in the files or whatever. Wait till you hear what they have to say about Donald Trump. But this just in, everyone, Andy put that up. This just in, Donald Trump speaks on Epstein. This just in, Donald Trump is talking about Epstein. He's been taking questions from reporters, and let's go with the first one. Here's the first one.
That you have not been briefed on the Epstein files, or your name has not appeared in the Epstein files. But doesn't the AG have to tell you if your name is...
Well, I haven't been overly interested in it. You know, it's a hoax that's been built up way beyond proportion. I can say this, those files were run by the worst scum on earth. They were run by Comey. They were run by Garland. They were run by Biden and all of the people that actually ran the government, including the auto pen. Those files were run for 4 years by those people. If they had anything, I assume they would have released it. The whole thing is a hoax. They ran the files. I was running against somebody that ran the files. If they had something, they would have released. Now, they can easily put something in the files that's a phony. Like, as an example, Christopher Steele, a person you know well, happens to be from your country. But Christopher Steele, as an example, wrote a book, a dossier. We call it the fake news dossier. And the whole thing was a fake. The whole thing was a fake. They can put things in the file that are fake.
Okay. We're going to go through that because I want you to hear. Sometimes I feel bad. I'm like, why do I keep, interrupting the soundbite? Because I want you guys to hear all of it. There's so much misinformation in there. And by the way, when I speak to, just so you know, when I speak to people over the weekend, you know what people are talking about? They're obviously talking about the Epstein files a lot, bigly or big league, however. But they're also talking about Trump's ankles and the health condition that his administration, his own office, released information on. Like there's something going on here. But I digress. We're going to stick with Epstein, and then perhaps we'll get back to that. But you guys know what I'm talking about. Everyone's like, yeah, Epstein, but I want to know about those ankles. That's bad because my uncle had this. So such and such had this, and then he's got the thing on his hand, whatever. So let's just go through this soundbite, and then I'll get to the other ones. Okay. So Andy, play this soundbite again. And I'm gonna talk you through it.
That you have not been briefed on the Epstein files, or your name has not appeared in the Epstein files. But doesn't the AG have to tell you if your name is...
Well, I haven't been overly interested in it. You know, it's a hoax that's been built up way beyond proportion. I can say this, those files were run by the worst scum on earth.
Pause. He has not been very interested in it. He's the one who brought it up initially. And actually, according to the reporting, he's the first person to bring up Epstein in relation to the Democrats and other such nonsense. I believe it was the K-Files or someone who reported the first incident of it being brought up in that manner was from Donald Trump himself. So that he hasn't been very interested in it is a lie. He hasn't been very interested in it since Pam Bondi told him in May that his names appeared in those files, allegedly. Go.
They were run by Comey. They were run by Garland. They were run by Biden and all of the people that actually ran the government, including the auto pen.
Pause. Okay. So the Epstein files were in Donald Trump's possession the first time that he was in office. This all happened, and wait till you hear. People don't even understand the timeline. They don't understand. They've been listening to this fake MAGA shit for so long. They've been listening to Fox News for so long that they actually fall for it. They think it's real. They think it's real, what they believe, not understanding that all of this happened under Donald Trump's watch, on his watch, I should say, on Donald Trump's watch. But if you listen to them, they would think like, hey, the Democrats are hiding something. Why didn't they do something with the files? First of all, the files were not complete. Let's just remember this. Until Ghislaine Maxwell finished everything that she had to do. So the Biden folks it was at the tail end. What was it? What did I say? When was it? You said 2022, Peter, or was it when was it? 2020?
August of 2022. Let me.
Okay, August of 2022. So for the entirety of Biden, almost, the files weren't complete. Ghislaine Maxwell was not finished with being prosecuted, with courts, with testimony, with all of that stuff. So actual no complete files, and this was not a Democrat cause célèbre. Although Ro Khanna said over the weekend that there have been Democrats pushing for the release of the files related to the disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein. He's saying since 2019. Spoke to ABC News. He pushed back on the suggestion that his party only began calling for the documents to be released recently. Now that issue is politically fraught for President Donald Trump. Why are Democrats suddenly interested in the Epstein files? ABC's Jonathan Krall asked California Democrat. I mean, did you ask the Biden Justice Department to release the files? It's not a sudden interest. Actually, the former chair, Elijah Cummings, had an investigation starting in 2019, said Khanna, referring to the late civil rights activist and Maryland Democratic House member who chaired the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee at the time. And I have tweeted out supporting that back in 2019, Khanna added. We have been pushing for transparency. During the Biden administration, both 2021 and 2024, the court ordered release of the documents. But Donald Trump raised the stakes, Khanna said. He admitted that the heightened scrutiny of the case in recent months, that there is heightened scrutiny in recent months, but he said this is not anything new for the Democrats, but just remember the timeline and all of that. Remember, Biden was still president when Ghislaine Maxwell was going through the process. Those files were not complete yet because they needed her testimony and also need to figure out, was there a deal? I guess. I don't know exactly what Merrick Garland was doing. But also remember, Merrick Garland, his administration, the Merrick Garland Justice Department has been criticized a lot by Democrats because he was slow. He did not want to be perceived the Justice Department is going after Joe Biden's political enemies. So Donald Trump is making shit up as he goes along, and he doesn't actually know what he's talking about, or he doesn't care that he's giving false information. Where's the second part? is probably the correct part. Keep going.
Those files were run for 4 years by those people. If they had anything, I assume they would have released it. The whole thing is a hoax. They ran the files.
Pause.
I was running
It's
against.
not a hoax. Jeffrey Epstein was in jail. Jeffrey Epstein died in jail. Ghislaine Maxwell is sitting in prison now. They want to speak with her. If it was a hoax, they wouldn't care. So that's a lie. And the whole thing wasn't run for 4 years. Just remember, Donald Trump's administration was first. And I'm going to give you a timeline because I think that in this interview, you'll get a better idea of just how dumb these people are. Keep going.
And somebody that ran the files. If they had something, they would have released. Now, they can easily put something in the files that's a phony. Like, as an example, Christopher Steele, a person you know well, happens to be from your country. But Christopher Steele, as an example, wrote a book, a dossier. We call it the fake news dossier. And the whole thing was a fake. The whole thing was a fake.
The Christopher Steele dossier has nothing to do with this. You can get into the whole thing about whether it was fake or not. Was there some information in there that was true and some that was not? Okay, that is, that folks are still arguing that. Okay, but Christopher Steele and the dossier has nothing to do with this at all. It is a diversion and a distraction, and it is a tactical one. Keep going.
They can put things in the file that are fake.
Okay. If you believe they can put things in the file that are fake, it's so simple, everyone. I want you to think about it and just be logical with me. So you have the file from the Trump administration for the first time. So the Bill Barr Justice Department had those files, and they're on record. And so if you are claiming that the Biden administration put fake stuff in those files, why don't you go back and review the ones that you had, compare them to the ones that Joe Biden had, instead of saying they could have put stuff in there, because he's saying there could have, woulda, shoulda, coulda, but then there's no evidence. So if you had evidence, what you would say is, when we reviewed the files, first time we were in office, this was in the files. These are the facts. Now, I'm going to compare to you what happened after our administration left office and the Biden folks took over. These are the differences. And this is what we believe are real, and this is what we believe are fake, or whatever. And the Biden folks would say, well, that's actually new information that came from Ghislaine Maxwell, and they'd have to explain it. But he has no proof of that. He does not even want that discovery process to go on, because then that would preclude him from this fake argument that he has, this distraction, that somehow the files were manipulated to make him look bad. It's bullshit. Okay? Here's Donald Trump again in overseas trying to divert attention away from the Epstein files, and the reporters keep asking him about it. Keep going.
Completely rule out a pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell when you landed. Is that something you would ever consider, and why?
Pardon for who?
For Ghislaine Maxwell.
Well, I'm allowed to give her a pardon, but nobody's approached me with it. Nobody's asked me about it. It's in the news about that aspect of it, but right now it would be inappropriate to talk about it. So,
okay, right now it would be inappropriate to talk about it, and yet he's talking about it. All he has to do is say, "No, I'm not considering that. No, that's not on the table. Not doing it." Now, let's just say it changes in the future. He could just say, "I changed my mind," which he would do. I got new information and blah, blah, blah. But at this point, all he has to do is say, "No, I'm not. No, not on the table. Not happening." And he's not doing that. And guess what? That causes people to do what? Ask more questions about Epstein. Saying anything is a hoax is saying I'm guilty, says Francine Perry. I don't disagree with you on that, Francine Perry. But here we are, another week, and it's Epstein, Epstein, Epstein. And it's Epstein, 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 not because people are like just pushing it. It's because he's doing it as well. Donald Trump, again, speaking overseas, trying to divert attention away from Epstein and getting asked more questions about Epstein. This is all new. Here it is.
and by the way, I never went to the island, and Bill Clinton went there supposedly 28 times. I never went to the island, but Larry Summers, I hear, went there. He was the head of Harvard. And many other people that are very big people. Nobody ever talks about them. I never had the privilege of going to his island, and I did turn it down, but a lot of people in Palm Beach were invited to his island.
The privilege? Never had the privilege of going to his island. A lot of people in Palm Beach. I mean, come on. Bill Clinton's not the president anymore. And he keeps thinking by throwing Bill Clinton out, he's going to say, well, the Democrats, they don't want the files out or whatever because Bill Clinton. If you speak to Democrats, they'll say, hey, Bill Clinton, if he did something, suffer the consequences. Release the files. All of this is a distraction. Why aren't you releasing the files? And are you going to pardon Ghislaine Maxwell? You don't have a good answer for either of them. It's just that simple. Keep spinning, keep spinning, keep spinning. Epstein, 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 Epstein. Keep going.
In one of my very good moments, I turned it down. I didn't want to go to his island.
He turned it down. Well, wait. In what context, Mr. Trump, did anyone ask that? In what context? When did he ask you to go? For what reason? So that means that you guys were close enough for him to invite you to an island? You have to be a pretty good friend for someone to say, hey, come to my island. Wouldn't you have to know them fairly well for that to happen? I mean, I'm just saying. He's going to say, no, I never met him. Yeah. I'm just saying. These are the things that make you go, I don't know if they keep you up at night, but they're very simple solutions and questions to that. Now, this is what the Washington Post says. Washington Post is reporting that Donald Trump is still fuming as Epstein scandal dominates the headlines. Now, this is from over the weekend. Now, he's there again, and I'm surprised that he's not snapping at the reporters. Perhaps he figures that he may have to conduct himself with at least a modicum of dignity over there, sitting in the room with all of those people. And by the way, why is Caroline Leavitt sitting? Why is she among the people there? I have no idea. Like, what is going on? Why is the press secretary sitting at the same, not table, but in the same space and chairs on the same stage, so to speak, as the EU leaders and the leaders in Scotland? Like, what? Why? Go sit down. Bizarre. So the Wall Street Journal says he is upset. He is fuming as Epstein scandal dominates the headlines. Wall Street Journal, bipartisan pair said they will force Epstein vote after recess. Did you guys see this? Thomas Massie is out there. Ro Khanna's out there. They're working together in tandem saying, we need to bring the disinfectant of light. The disinfectant of light onto this and transparency. So I'm going to play this for you. This is Massie, who's on the TV. Now remember, Massie is a Republican. Are you ready for this? Over the weekend, the pressure will build over the recess. Now, why on earth did Mike Johnson shut down the Congress, thinking that it was going to tamp it down? It's not going to. Here's Thomas Massie.
There was this story in the Wall Street Journal about a birthday message that the journal reports that Trump wrote to Epstein for his 50th birthday, and as part of a book of messages. Obviously, the president denies that he did this. He's suing the Wall Street Journal over it. But would you support something that Congressman Khanna has been calling for, which is pressing the estate of Jeffrey Epstein, subpoenaing the estate to turn that book over?
Well, I think we should get a lot more than just the book. Let's get the financial records of the estate. Follow the money, as they say up here. We should look at the plea bargain, open that up, see what was the deal that was cut. I think there's a lot more than just that letter, but that letter is also sort of representative of something that's embarrassing but not illegal. Another reason why these files may be sealed and stay sealed. But we're going to force a vote on this when we get back from the August recess. Ro Khanna and I are using a procedure in the House called a discharge petition, whereby if we get 218 votes, and we're well on our way to that, 218 signatures, then we can force the vote.
So you're just going to need a couple more Republicans to sign that if Democrats go along. Are you going to get that?
if every Democrat signs this, I've already got 12 Republican co-sponsors, and I only need 6 to sign it.
But will they sign? I mean, will they? Because that's taking control of the House schedule away from the Speaker.
I think the pressure is going to build over August recess. I don't think it's going to dissipate like the Speaker hopes that it will. And if merely just half the people who've co-sponsored this legislation follow through and sign it, then it's going to come to the floor for a vote.
This shit is not going away. Okay? It's not going away. So I don't know what Mike Johnson is doing. Mike Johnson is out there. You're going to hear from Mike Johnson in a little bit. But he's out there talking about this as well. I've got to tell you, though, but you wait till you hear, what is it, John Wayne Mullen, and whatever his name is. Yeah. Wow. Worse than Bill O'Reilly with the misinformation. And it's not just one, it's a bunch of them that are terrible when it comes to the misinformation about this. You're going to hear more from Thomas Massie, who is pressing for the Epstein files to be released. And he says he has enough votes to get Congress to do it. So watch Donald Trump scramble and spin, his administration scramble and spin over the next month or so until Congress is back in September, because they are going to try to do everything to change the narrative, and including a word from Ghislaine Maxwell. A word or testimony or something from Ghislaine Maxwell. First, everyone, before you hear that, stick around. You're going to hear from a lot of those folks. But here's a word from our sponsor, okay? And this one I love because I had stopped eating cereal. Do you guys still eat cereal? I grew up eating cereal. I grew up with the Frosted Flakes. I grew up with the Fruity Pebbles. I grew up with the Snap, Crackle, and Pop. Sugar Snaps. What were the yellow ones with the pop things? What were there? You remember those? There were Sugar Pops. Loved those. I grew up, that was a lot. Oh my gosh, we were eating so much sugar. But anyways, let me just tell you about this. Support today comes from Magic Spoon. All right, let's be real. Who doesn't miss the joy of tearing into a box of cereal? I know I certainly do. I miss that joy of tearing into a box of cereal like I was a kid. Well, Magic Spoon took that childhood classic and they gave it a serious grown-up glow up. Okay? Now you can enjoy it and you can feel like a kid again, but it's not exactly the same. All right, we're talking about cereal that fuels you with up to 13 grams of protein, 0 grams of sugar, and just 4 net carbs per serving. What's not to like? You get protein, you don't get all the carbs, and you get 0 sugar. Perfect for those living that carb-conscious lifestyle. And the flavors are straight up nostalgic. They have fruity, they've got cocoa. You guys know what I'm talking about. They've got frosted. It's like your Saturday morning cartoons came back, but with macros your body will actually thank you for. Okay? And so don't sleep on these treats either. Magic Spoon, crispy, crunchy bars. They pack of 12 grams of protein, and they come in flavors like marshmallow, chocolate peanut butter, and dark chocolate. By the way, I hide the chocolate peanut butter ones so that folks in the house won't eat them in the studio. They're great on the go. They're pre or post workout, and even during those late night snack attacks. So ready to try it? Here's what you do. You're going to get $5 off your next order at magicspoon.com/lemon, or check out Magic Spoon on Amazon or at your local grocery store. That's magicspoon.com/lemon for $5 off. So the fruity ones, you know, I like that. Don't with the jokes, okay? So I loved like the Fruity Pebbles growing up, and I did these. I'm like, oh my God, this is great. Yeah, Magic Spoon. Okay, thank you to Magic Spoon. All right, support for the Don Lemon Show also comes today from my friend, again, over the weekend, Chef IQ. We've all been there. We've been sweating over a hot stove or barbecue, tethered in place, singeing our eyebrows, trying to figure out if the steak is right, if the chicken's right, what's going on, how long do I have to cook it? Oh my gosh. And then half of it comes out burnt like to a crisp, and the other half comes out, you know, like it's bloody rare. And you don't get a chance to sit and talk to people, and you're constantly there. And the phone, you're like, oh, I got to fix the music or whatever. Those days are gone because I got a Chef IQ Sense. I'm ready for the Food Network right now. Chef IQ Sense is brilliantly simple. It's a cooking sensor that goes into whatever it is you're cooking. It's kind of like a meat thermometer, but wireless and way smarter. Takes the stress out of not knowing if your meat will come out good. Okay? So what you do is just whatever it is that you're cooking, you take the Chef IQ, you take this and you put it into whatever it is that you're cooking, and then you set it on the app to what you want, whether you want it rare, medium rare, well, whatever it is that you want, medium well, whatever it is, you set it, and then it will, there you go, ping your iPhone whenever it's ready with a little sound like that. Okay? So here's what you do. You don't have to no opening that hot oven, sweating over the barbecue, not hanging out with friends. They have a flash sale right now. Okay, it's for seafood, chicken, beef, meat, whatever it is. You need to jump on this. Summer grilling season is here. Chef IQ Sense makes you a grill master. And during their flash sale, you're going to get 15% off. So visit chefiq.com and the promo code is LEMON. Again, that's chef, CHEF, IQ, just like it sounds.com. Promo code LEMON. Thanks to our sponsors. Now, let's get back to this craziness. Okay? This is the madness that is Donald Trump. Here's Thomas Massie again. Someone asked Johnson why he recessed for Epstein. Thomas Massie, a Republican, pushing to have the files released. By the way, they hate him right now. Here it is.
Look, the release of the Epstein files is emblematic of what Trump ran for and why he got the populist vote. There seems to be a class of people beyond the law, beyond the judicial system, that operates outside of all of that. And we all thought that when Trump was elected, he would be the bull in the china shop and that he would break that up and bring transparency. Frankly, it wasn't until just recently that I realized that people who were allegedly working on this weren't sincere in their efforts. And also, politics is the art of the doable. There's enough public pressure right now that we can get 218 votes and force this to a vote on the floor. Somebody should ask Speaker Mike Johnson, why did he recess Congress early so that he didn't have to deal with the Epstein issue? He can bring this to the floor at any point, yet he's chosen to send us home early for August recess.
And again, why is that? Why is that? I'm being told from one of my correspondents out there, my co-host, correspondence producer, that where them files at? Boots on the ground, kicking up some dirt. That is a song that people are out there on the internet singing. You know, they say, where them fans at? This whole thing. Now they're saying, where them files at? That's according to a trusty on the ground person out there who I may or may not know personally as my mother. I'm just saying. She's always on it. She's always right about it. So that's what Thomas Massie says. According to the Washington Post, Trump's MAGA allies zero in on Maxwell as the furor persists. Okay? So here is when I told you, now you guys, are you ready for this? Tell me if you're ready. Let me slow down a little bit. And I'm just going to stop. Like, I want you guys, so this is a little longer. Remember I told you everything's not going to be sexy. Some things are going to be long. They're not provocative. They're not like people going, woo! You got to listen to this one, though. Do you guys know who Mark Wayne Mullen is? He is a senator, and he's like this big dude. And remember, he was there for January 6th, and he was trying to assist the people, whatever. But then tried to make excuses for it afterwards, but he was scared as well, right? So Mark Wayne Mullen is fallen into the MAGA brain cultish trap of not knowing his facts. Remember, we don't operate in a factual or a society that's based on facts or reality anymore. It's based on vibes and feelings. I feel the Democrats have a Pizzagate kind of thing going on. I feel the Democrats are all up in the Epstein files, even though you see Donald Trump has the most connections to Jeffrey Epstein so far, except for Ghislaine Maxwell on this whole thing. But yet he is deflecting. Now sit back and pay attention, grab your coffee or whatever it is that you have, even if you have popcorn this early in the morning, whatever it is. Here's Senator Mark Wayne Mullen on the CNN this weekend getting his shit wrong.
way, and that's why Attorney General Bondi
If the
was
case
saying
is
for
sealed,
months. Well, then tell me why
well,
for
no.
months she was saying that she's going to release the information tomorrow.
We made the assumption that the judges would release the order and allow the evidence that they had that it could be heard. But it's all been sealed. And so if it's been a sealed case, we can't release it until the judges allow us to release it. And you would think common sense would play. That's why they asked for transparency. We want transparency. We want the judges.
He is making a point here, right? He's saying it's sealed. He's making the point about what some people are saying about what some of the fact checkers are saying about the Epstein files under Joe Biden. Sealed because what? They were still going through the process of Ghislaine Maxwell. So he doesn't even understand the point that he's making is actually helping the whole Biden Justice Department. But now he's saying, now he's trying to conflate the grand jury testimony with the actual files themselves. That's what it sounds like to me. You tell me what it sounds like to you. But then again, getting his facts, dates, timeline, all of it wrong. Keep going.
To have transparency in this too. But remember, there was a plea deal that was struck in 2009, way before I was in office, way before Trump was even considering to be in office, way before Pam Bondi was in office, way before Kash Patel was director. 2009, there was a sweetheart plea deal that was made underneath the Obama administration with Epstein.
Right. That's not
and
right.
that sweetheart has not been exposed.
No, it was 2000.
Oh, it's not? Well, when was the case heard?
It was 2008. It was the U.S. attorney at the time was a guy named Alex Acosta. He was a Bush appointee. He went on to become President Trump's Secretary of Labor. It all took place in 2008.
Who was in office at the time?
2008, George W. Bush.
Who was in office at the time?
George W. Bush.
No, 2009 is when the case came out, and it was and
not true.
Obama was in office at the time.
It's not true.
I'm sorry. It's crazy to me that they believe this stuff. Like they make any excuse. I guess they read stuff and when they read it, they're like, they just don't see it because they have on like MAGA glasses. Like, what is going on? It's like, they don't see, I've been saying this, when they all of these pictures and videos of Donald Trump with Jeffrey Epstein and partying and kicking in his ear, and it's just like they're almost going to kiss each other and whatever. But somehow they see Epstein, but they don't see Donald Trump and Melania with him. To them, they see Bill Clinton and Epstein. I haven't seen any video with them. Or they see Barack Obama with Epstein. I haven't seen it. They see Joe Biden. I haven't seen it. You know who I've seen with Jeffrey Epstein? You know who has been confirmed to be friends and in the files? Donald Trump. But this is crazy. They cannot, for some reason, see it. Was that the end of his thing, Andy?
Yeah, but there's one more clip.
Another one. There's another soundbite. So he's got his dates wrong. He's got the administration wrong. He's got the people who are in charge of the Justice Department wrong, the president wrong, all of it wrong, the timeline. Hello? All wrong. Here he is again. Wrong. Loud and wrong.
But I'll go back to what you're saying about it wasn't true. The case was sealed in 2009. That's absolutely true. It was heard in 2008. It was sealed in 2009.
The point is that the sweetheart deal, which was completed in 2008, was under the Bush administration, U.S. Attorney Alex Acosta. That's why Alex Acosta resigned in the first Bush administration, because the Miami Herald had written this story in 2018 about how Epstein got away with so much. And then in 2019, the U.S. attorney under President Trump, Jeff Berman in the Southern District of New York, then brought charges against him. So, I mean, there is stuff to say that you could point to that say, like, President Trump did this or President Trump did that.
And remember, in 2019, President Trump and his administration called for it to be unsealed at that time, too. It went silent, and not a word was said during the Biden administration. Not a word. Nothing was said during the Biden administration.
People can look it up. The sweetheart deal was 2008 during the George W. Bush administration. But I always appreciate your coming on the show.
Okay, now back that up, Andy, because I just want you to look at his after. I just want you to just watch. I've been sitting here the entire time. Watch his body language. He knows he fucked up. He knows he's been exposed. Okay. First of all, Andy, go to the first soundbite. Let me see the beginning of the first soundbite that we played. When he's all like he's way more confident. Okay, this is the first soundbite. Just look, watch his body language. This is the first soundbite.
We made the assumption that the judges would release the order and allow the evidence that they
Very
had
confident.
that it could be heard. But it's all been sealed. And so if it's been a sealed case, we can't release it until the judges allow us to release it. And
Okay,
you would
now,
think
now go to the second soundbite when he starts to get fact checked. Watch his facial expressions and his body language. He's like,
Acosta resigned in the first Bush administration because the Miami Herald had written this story in 2018 about how Epstein got away with so much. And then in 2019, the U.S. attorney under President Trump, Jeff Berman in the Southern District of New York, then brought charges against him. So, I mean, there is stuff to say that you could point to that say, like, President Trump did this or President Trump did that.
And remember, in 2019, President Trump and his administration called for it to be unsealed at that time, too. It went silent, and not a word was said during the Biden administration. Not a word. Nothing was said during the Biden administration.
People can look it up.
Look at his face. Look at his face. He knows. Look at that face. He knows. Gotcha. Got him. Face cracked. He and Bill O'Reilly and even Donald Trump, all of them. Oh, his neck, someone says his neck gets darker, meaning he's turning red. It is. Look at that. Holy schmoly. Look how red he is. Now, is that true? Beet red. Now, is he that red? Is he in the beginning, the first soundbite? Let's see, Andy. That good? Kind of red. But, oh, he gets red. Yeah. Well, he is mad. And he should be mad at himself for not knowing his shit. He should be mad. Now, the whole question is that Tom Tillis is asking, I'm sorry, Massey is asking, why did he is a Republican, Thomas Massey is a Republican, and he's asking, why did MAGA Mike Johnson, why did he let Congress go early to try to take attention away from this Epstein thing, and also so that the Congress wouldn't have a chance to speak to Ghislaine Maxwell before Donald Trump's Justice Department did? The Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche. And so here's Mike Johnson being asked that question, and being asked about a possible pardon. Here it is.
Well, listen, this week, President Trump didn't rule out a pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell. Of course, that's one of the big questions looming over all of this. So let me put this to you, Mr. Speaker. Would you support a pardon or a commutation for Ghislaine Maxwell, a convicted sex trafficker?
Well, I mean, obviously that's a decision of the president. He said he had not adequately considered that. I won't get in front of him. That's not my lane. My lane is to help direct and control the House of Representatives and to use every tool within our arsenal to get to the truth. I'm going to say this as clearly and plainly and repeatedly as I can over and over. We are for maximum disclosure. We want all transparency. I trust the American people. I and the House Republicans believe that they should have all this information to be able to determine what they will. But we have to protect the innocent. And that's the only safeguard here that we've got to be diligent about. And I'm insistent upon doing so.
Well, I guess my question is, are you open to a pardon or commutation?
Bullshit. Because if he was, he would not have sent Congress home early. Okay. I love her, but why didn't she ask? If you want transparency, if you want complete and full transparency, whatever, then why didn't you allow the vote to happen? Why did you send Congress home early? Because it would one would assume, and it would be logically so, that if you wanted this full transparency and you wanted the American people to know as much as possible, you would not have advertently or inadvertently silenced the Congress, the very body that is calling for transparency, by sending them home and not allowing them to vote. I'm sorry, sir. You're not answering my question. I'm sorry, sir. I wouldn't say that you're not answering my question. I'm sorry, sir. Perhaps you didn't understand my question, so let me repeat. is going on? What is going on? Do you understand what I'm saying? Just back up and hear just a little bit of that. Just back it up. Back it up a little bit, Andy. Back it up. Okay, now play it.
I and the House Republicans believe that they should have all this information to be able to determine what they will. But we have to protect the innocent. And that's the only safeguard here that we've got to be diligent about. And I'm insistent upon doing so.
Pause. Okay, well, okay, then, Mr. Speaker, then if you want that transparency, and there are ways to make sure that people aren't, mentioned, because you can redact. So, but then why would you silence the very body who's calling for that transparency? Why would you send them home early? I'll wait. Keep going.
I guess my question is, are you open to a pardon or commutation? I mean, Mr. Speaker, the victims referred to Maxwell as Epstein's right-hand woman. Here's what one victim who testified under a pseudonym told the court at sentencing, quote, "The many acts that were perpetrated on me by Epstein, including rape, strangulation, and sexual assault, were never consensual and would not have occurred had it not been for the cunning and premeditated role Ghislaine Maxwell played." Is that someone deserving of a pardon or commutation in any circumstance, Mr. Speaker?
If you're asking my opinion, I think 20 years was a pittance. I think she should have a life sentence at least. I mean, think of all these unspeakable crimes. And as you noted earlier, probably 1,000 victims. I mean, it's hard to put into words how evil this was, and that she orchestrated it and was a big part of it. At least under the criminal sanction, I think is an unforgivable thing. So, again, not my decision, but I have great pause about that, as any reasonable person would.
Okay, then, okay, I'm glad you said that, because yeah, you're right. Any reasonable person would have pause about that, Mr. Speaker. You're exactly right. So then why do you think the president is not saying that the same thing that you're saying? Is that, why isn't he saying definitively that he won't pardon Ghislaine Maxwell? Okay. And then, so then, why do you think, I'm sure you have an idea about it. You've been doing this for quite some time. You've been doing it for a long time. And and I appreciate your transparency and your candor on all this. You've been doing this for such a long time. Why do you think Todd Blanche and Pam Bondi, the Justice Department, why do you think they want to meet with Ghislaine Maxwell? And why such a hurry? If you can delay the Congress until September, why not wait until the Congress is back to interview her? The crickets? Oh, okay. I mean, do you guys think I'm wrong? Perhaps you think I'm wrong. Now, do you remember that here's it, Donald Trump still oversees something brand new into the Don Lemon Show newsroom. This just in, breaking news in the Don Lemon Show newsroom. Another hot topic. Donald Trump is speaking overseas again, trying to change the subject. He's going over there, blah, 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 making a big show of this. Get the focus off of Epstein. Now, let me tell you, when I said, why is Caroline Leavitt sitting there? Get the focus off of Epstein. This is all stagecraft and it's a show. But Caroline Leavitt there with us, so they'll know that it means business. I want her in every shot near me, so that know that we are all together. And when they're asking her questions, that she is speaking for me, and that when they ask her questions, don't be asking her no damn questions about Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, she's there. They're gonna want to know. You get what I'm saying? It's all stagecraft. But still, everyone's focused on Epstein, rightly so. And remember when Donald Trump said, oh, he was a creep and I threw him out of Mar-a-Lago, blah, blah. That's all a lie, reportedly, allegedly. That's all a lie. And if you listen to Jeffrey Epstein and his brother, Mark Epstein, and others, Michael Wolff, the reason that, I believe it was Michael Wolff, the reason that the friendship broke up, and I also watched a mini doc on it this weekend, was because of it. The brother and Epstein, and I think Wolff, are claiming that Jeffrey Epstein said that Donald Trump was like a horrible person or had no morals or no scruples or something like that. That like he couldn't be trusted, or he was yes, it was something along those lines. And then there was a real estate deal in Palm Beach that they were both vying for. Donald Trump was like being really sneaky about it and going, but not, he didn't believe, Epstein didn't believe on the up and up when trying to negotiate this deal for a $43 million or 40-some million dollar property. And as Epstein was negotiating, I don't know if you guys have seen this, Donald Trump was allegedly quietly on a speakerphone or something, listening to them, or he was on a speakerphone and Donald Trump was listening and then went in and undercut him. And then Jeffrey Epstein says this guy is, just this has no morals. But there's also another reason, and not the one that Donald Trump claims. And here's Donald Trump talking about it today. Just now.
At the time you threw him out of Mar-a-Lago, can you settle that? What was it about? What caused the breach to begin?
That's such old history. Very easy to explain, but I don't want to waste your time by explaining it. But for years, I wouldn't talk to Jeffrey Epstein.
I'm not wasting my time.
I wouldn't talk because he did something that was inappropriate. He hired help. And I said, don't ever do that again. He stole people that worked for me. I said, don't ever do that again. He did it again. And I threw him out of the place, persona non grata. I threw him out, and that was it. I'm glad I did, if you want to know the truth.
Now, he had said that he threw him out because he was a creep. And now he's saying he threw him out because he was poaching employees. A lot of people do that. I mean, it's not, you don't like it. But maybe there were some good folks working there. And Jeffrey Epstein said, hey, would you like to come work for me? Now, how many excuses are you going to get from this man? When the real question is, why don't you release the files? Just release the files. Just release the Epstein files. Now, if you have Jeffrey Epstein saying that you have no morals or scruples or whatever, I'm paraphrasing, I forget what the exact term was, like he couldn't be trusted or something like that. I mean, you have a problem. Joe Rogan, Joe Rogan, and the Trump dick riders over on that other podcast, they're now asking some very tough questions. And so are the victims of Jeffrey Epstein. You're going to hear from all of the above that I just spoke about, the aforementioned, in just moments. In just moments, right here on the program. But I have to get a word in from our sponsors this morning. If I can find that word from our sponsors. So I had it up on my thing here. So stand by. But anyways, stand by. Bear with me this morning because, it's Monday. I'm trying to deal with it. I'm trying to deal with all the stuff that's going on this morning. Okay. Let me go into my file. Here we go. Thank you very much, Nikki, to the rescue. Okay. So support for the show today comes from Mint Mobile. Now, this is the new sponsor, and I got to tell you, so we're working on getting Mint Mobile because they have such great deals to do the show. But there are members of our team who have tried Mint Mobile. Have you tried Mint Mobile? You should try Mint Mobile, okay? Because I'm hearing really good things about it, and we are working on it. But there are members of our team who love it and are already using it. So support from the show comes from Mint Mobile. You know what doesn't belong in your epic summer plans? That is getting burned by your own cell phone bill, your own wireless bill, while you're planning beach trips or barbecue or 3-day weekends or whatever it is. Your wireless bill should not be the last thing holding you back. That's why so many people are making the switch to Mint Mobile. You can get the coverage and the speed that you're used to, but for way less money and a limited time, okay? Mint Mobile is offering 3 months of unlimited premium wireless service. Get this, and it is wild, for $15 a month. It is a limited time offer for just 3 months, $15 a month. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered, on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone, your own contacts, your own number, and no contracts. Okay? So there are members of my team who have tried Mint Mobile. The quality is exactly the same as the big three carriers, reliable, crystal clear service, and they're using tons of unlimited data. So this year, I want you to skip breaking a sweat and breaking the bank. Get this new customer offer for your 3-month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month at mintmobile.com/DonLemon. Again, that's mintmobile.com/DonLemon. And I have to mention this, okay? This is a caveat. I wish I could speak quickly like those people. The caveat, upfront payment of $45 is required. That's the equivalent of $15 a month. There's a limited time new customer offer for the first 3 months only. Now, speeds may slow above 35 GB or gigabytes on the unlimited plan. Tax and extra fees may apply. See Mint Mobile for details. Okay, so thank you to Mint Mobile. Support for the Don Lemon Show also comes from the Freedom from Religion Foundation, one of our longtime sponsors, who we love having here. And you see what's happening right now with the separation of church and state, not so separate anymore. At least they're trying to make it that way. So let's talk facts. Across the U.S., politicians are pushing religion into public schools. Posters of the 10 Commandments, chaplains without clinical training, vouchers that reroute public money to private religious schools, many that exclude LGBTQ students or non-Christians. It's happening right now. The Freedom from Religion Foundation is fighting back. They defend the First Amendment in court, in Congress, and in the classrooms to protect students from religious coercion and keep public education truly public. So learn more. Go to ffrf.us/school. That's ffrf.us/school, or text my name, Don, D-O-N, to 511-511. Don't let your rights be rewritten. Go to ffrf.us/school or text Don to 511-511, and text fees may apply. Back to the program. Okay, this is the best part of the program. We heard from Donald Trump. We know that he's going to lie and whatever. All right. Here's one of the victims talking about a possible pardon, because that's what Johnson just talked about, a possible pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell. Donald Trump is saying, hey, I shouldn't be talking about it. I can. I do have the right. He's just not saying, I'm not going to do it. Epstein victim speaking to Gayle King has a few words for the folks who are considering pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell, and for the people who are saying that Ghislaine Maxwell is a victim here and that she's been railroaded. This actual victim begs to disagree. Here it is.
She is a monster. She's worse than Epstein. She did things even worse than Epstein did. She was vicious, she was evil, and she was a woman.
Her lawyers have said Ghislaine Maxwell is not a Jeffrey Epstein, that she has been a victim of media spin.
They're doing their job, but I know that woman. I've known her really well. Put it this way. Epstein was Pinocchio, and she was Geppetto. She was the guy controlling
the strings.
Jeffrey. Yep, she was pulling the strings. She had his money. He had her contacts. But Ghislaine was much more conniving and smart than Epstein ever was.
So can you imagine with hearing from victims like this? Well, in the Trump administration, you can't imagine, because there's in many ways, no shame. Just no shame. So can you imagine women having gone through that, victims, and then someone comes along and says, oh, she's railroaded, she's a victim now? Imagine how you might feel about that. So that's how the victims feel. So it would behoove Donald Trump to have stronger language as it relates to Ghislaine Maxwell, instead of pussyfooting around or trying to pretend that he is not going to. He's waiting to hear what Todd Blanche and the Justice Department get from her before he says something definitively about it, because he doesn't want to back himself into a corner. When the smart thing would do is say, I'm not considering that. No, not. But we shall see. We shall see. So here's what I want to play this, because this is what Joe Rogan. All right, are you guys ready for this? Joe Rogan, who supported Donald Trump, had him on the podcast, endorsed him. Correct, right? He did endorse him, producers, right? Yeah, he did. He endorsed him. This is what Joe Rogan is now saying about the man he supported and endorsed for president, Donald Trump.
Epstein stuff is so crazy, because when Kash Patel was on here and he was like, there's nothing. And I was like, what are you talking?
Yeah.
I didn't even know what to say. My thought was, and people are like, why didn't you push back more? My thought was like, I'm just going to put this out there and let the internet do its work. Because there's nothing I can. The guy's saying there's no tapes, there's no video. That doesn't make any sense. Everyone knows it doesn't make any sense. Let's just. And then he didn't know about the Michael Baden stuff, the autopsy stuff, where it showed that he had 3 broken bones in his neck, which never happens when you hang yourself. Even when you like leap from somewhere with a rope around your neck and it snaps your neck, you never have 3
and he's
broken
in a prison
bones.
cell. He's not launching himself off the first floor balcony.
The whole thing was nuts. And then he's like, well, we have a film. We're going to release that film. And the film has a fucking minute missing from it.
Yeah.
Like, do you think we're babies? Like, what is this?
I'm not a conspiracy guy by
you
nature.
are today.
But I am today. Today, I'm fully on board with this shit.
Everybody's in today.
Yeah.
So there you go. Does he think we are babies? Again, this is Joe Rogan saying this. Does he think we are babies? That's pretty amazing to me. Now, when I told you that there's also on another one of these Manosphere broadcasts, the dick riders who were, but now I guess they've awakened. And so, by the way, I'm not going to push them away because initially I said, you guys just realizing that, you're just figuring that out. I think the best course of action right now is not to, because when people break away from the cult, is not to demonize those people. They'll figure it out. But to welcome them in right now while you can to the truth. I'm not saying welcome them on the left or whatever. That's not what I'm saying at all. But welcome them to reality and the truth. That what most people saw. And not just the 30-some% of Donald Trump supporters of the electorate that actually voted. Not just that. But for the people who are like, hey, the majority of the people who said, this guy is a liar. He's going to lie to you. He's a con artist. And we don't know what he is as it relates to Jeffrey Epstein because the files have not been released. But so I say, welcome to, I forget the comedian's name on this podcast. And Joe Rogan, welcome. Thank you. All right. Now let's all talk and work together in the spirit of truth and reality. Here it is.
Trump is like, hey, the base thinks vaccines are fucked up. RFK, get in there.
January
Research
6th,
the vaccine.
they want him out.
They want him out. We're putting him out. And this, he is rebuking the base. Like, almost like spitting in their face. Like, they're asking for it. He campaigned on it. He puts Bongino and Cash in there, which might be the stupidest thing in the history of the world. Like, why would you put the 2 guys that have nonstop pounded the pavement talking about how we're going to expose this Epstein thing, and the second they get in there, like, you better shut the fuck up.
Yeah, to shut him up.
Go on Rogan, lie. Like, it is a very peculiar thing. It worked in that I think it moved any of the smoke off of Trump. Because, at least for me, I was like, there's no way that he's involved if he's putting Bongino and Cash in who have campaigned on exposing it.
Like, say that. Okay, so that doesn't really make sense. Again, welcome, sir, to the reality. It doesn't make sense in that those are damaged people. Those are conspiracy theorists. And those are people who are such Trump, as you guys were, D-riders, that they will do anything Donald Trump wants them to do. And so for Kash Patel to restore his reputation or to, have the role that he wants, he will say and do whatever Donald Trump wants. The same thing that Pam Bondi will do, the same thing that Pete Hegseth will do, the same thing that Duffy will do. They'll all do it because they're all damaged and they're all, by their own standards, are DEI hires. And so it makes perfect sense to put them there. But then there is a realization and a shock that happens when you actually have access to the files and you can see them and you go, oh shit, all the shit that I have been pushing out there for years is either exaggerated or not true. And so you can't just come on and lie, but I guess you could. So it makes sense. I don't get this part of the argument, but it does make sense because they're lackeys. Keep going.
Why would you hire those guys or appoint those guys? Right? So I'm like, he can't be. But the fact that he will not touch this, and then this last week, him doing the bullshit distractions.
Bro.
dropping the MLK file. Like, who asked for the MLK file?
Yeah.
Who asked for MLK?
You know what's funny is I'm not a huge conspiracy theorist, and I was initially like, the Epstein thing for me was just the last straw in terms of you not getting things done. And I was like, yeah, I'm sure there's some smoke, they'll release it. But the more they're doing to hide it, the more I'm like, oh, they're hiding something crazy. I didn't necessarily, I was like, there's probably something.
The second he started talking about Obama, I was like, oh, he's guilty.
Yeah.
Also, why are you talking about Obama and treason? You got a guy who has sex with teenagers that you are protecting.
Also, some of the lies are
other
so
pedophiles.
Yeah.
Trump is protecting other pedophiles.
Facts.
Like, that's what it is.
Or Epstein, because I actually think I actually think Epstein was a pedophile that was also involved in nefarious activities for maybe our government and other governments, and that they're protecting that relationship they have with him. I don't think it's like the CIA was running a pedophile ring to blackmail people. I think Epstein was a pedophile, obviously heinous one, but he had these relationships with all these powerful people around the world. And if you had that type of power in those relationships, maybe our government would want to have access to that.
All right. They went around the world for a whole lot. When the thing is that they're right from the beginning. He's this. What is the logical answer here? Obviously, he's hiding something. Obviously, he's trying to conceal something. Obviously, he's concerned about something. Don't know what it is, but that is the obvious logical answer when you don't want to release them. Why it took him so long to come to that conclusion or to realize that, this whole Epstein thing was, an issue that they have been bringing up, because a lot of folks thought that, I guess they thought that, it was the Democrats and it was sort of a Pizzagate thing and it was sexy and that lots of clicks and they made money off of it. Because remember, those folks don't have to. And this whole, sort of, it's not so new for them because they've been doing it for a while. The whole manosphere, this whole streaming world, this whole podcast world, they don't have to deal in facts. There are no editorial rigors or standards that you have to deal with. There's no standards and practices where you say, you guys can't say that. Why can't you say that? Because there's no factual evidence of it. What is the sourcing? Where's the evidence? You can't just say that. You can't just make up stuff about COVID medication. You can't just make up stuff about rings, Pizzagate rings, and all kinds of things. You can't just make it up. Used to in legacy media. Now that's a whole nother show that we talk about how terrible legacy media is doing right now, or linear television. But you don't have to operate on facts. And now they're like, whoa, not factual. Not factual. So, hey, look, welcome. I'm glad that you're here. We are glad that you are here. Let's see. This is Rolling Stone is doing a thing saying that Trump's senior moments are getting worse. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And then we'll get to Trump's mental decline that there are folks have put together on him not making sense in Scotland. We'll do that a little bit later on in the 5 o'clock show. And how he is making up all these conspiracy theories about Beyoncé and Oprah and Kamala Harris and just craziness. Okay. But I want to play, this is Donald Trump cheating. And then look, there's another big story. I'll talk about that first. This is Donald Trump on the golf course, and people say, Donald Trump doesn't cheat in golf. It's been said by a lot. I know some of his golfing buddies, and they're like, oh my God, he always cheats. Now, I want you to watch the ball. Like, keep your eye on the ball like a magician, okay? And then I'm going to tell you what I'm going to talk about at 5 o'clock. Here it is. Here's the thing. Did you see the ball? Did you guys see that? Come on, I know you saw it. Look at him. You see that right there? That's the caddy. The caddy takes the ball, and he knows. He knows. Now, there's a conspiracy theory. I don't believe in conspiracy. There's a fun one amongst our team that he's doing this to deflect from. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. He just throws the ball. There it is. Ball's right there, Mr. Trump. Oh, yeah, that's where you hit it. It's not in the sand trap. Never went in the sand trap. It's totally fine. So the cameras, come on. Is that to deflect from Epstein as well? Donald Trump cheats. He cheats at everything. Come on. Okay, here's the real serious thing that I didn't get to talk about today because Donald Trump did this press conference this morning and talked about Epstein, and that is Israel and Gaza. And we'll talk about that at 5 o'clock, or I may do it drop it a little bit. I may drop it earlier than that because now they are sending aid into Gaza. And there is a very interesting moment that happened on television today on a morning show with someone with a correspondent or a contributor who made the case for that Israel had no longer had any excuses. And what people are seeing now, the light of day is now, the disinfectant in Gaza, hopefully at least moving forward, but how Israel has used starvation and famine tactics in order to increase their war, I should say, with Gaza. And that they believe that it is war crimes. And even there are folks who were part of this Israeli government who are saying the same thing. The situation is so horrific in Gaza right now. And it was one of the most candid moments that I've seen on television. I have to give them their props, but we're going to play that for you later. Okay? Because we've been on for a long time, we got to go. So save that for you for later. But so I want to tell you guys, make sure you check out the website to know, you'll see where we are dropping things. If you want to watch whatever it is, click watch right there. That's our YouTube channel. That is our main channel there on the YouTube. You can see it says we are live now. Trump betrayed us. That's what they're saying. And then you can go and click on, if you want to, you can click on the join button, right? If you hit that join button, it'll take you right to the page where you can join and subscribe. It's right there. Okay. And it's easy. Boom, click right there. Boom, you go right to it. Okay. Or if you want merch, you can either go to it here on the page, right, where it says store. Or if you want to back out, if you want to just go to the website, click on merch, you can get our merch. Get our hats that you guys said. What was the polling? The polling was a slight lead for not wearing it, right? I think it was like 48-52 or something for me not wearing it today. But anyways, there you go. And then remember on August 12th, D.L. Hughley, I think it's almost sold out. I'm going to make sure before I keep promoting these tickets. But go check it out. August 12th at City Winery right here in New York City. D.L. Hughley and I. DL and DL Anything Goes, episode 2, Don Lemon and DL Hughley. Okay, so here we go. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to all the new members. Remember, the reason that we are able to continue to do what we do is through your generous support, your generosity, and your love for us. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. It's right there at the bottom of the screen, right next to the comments that are scrolling. Make sure you become a member. It is extremely important for you to become a member and to support us. So go and click the join button and become a member. It's very reasonable. And make sure you hit that like button. Okay, so here's the thing. Here it is. Someone talked about my haircut. I cut it myself with my own clipper that I had to go in the drawer and find, but I think I did a pretty good job. Myself, I've just been so busy, I haven't had a chance to go. You should see my fingernails. Woo! It's time to paint them or cut them. Crazy. Okay. Thanks, everybody. So you can be informed without being inundated. Don't sit in front of the television all day and become outraged. All the, your notifications and all that. Just chill out. We're going to be back here at 5 o'clock, and we're going to tell you, not 5-ish. I see you in the comments. It'll be 5. We're going to go try to be right on time today at 5 o'clock. Okay. So until I see you back here live at 5 p.m. Eastern for Lemon Live at 5, turn the TV off. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never, ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members-only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your love and your support, and we will see you.